there's some youngsters watching this who want to get into conflict journalism as well.
You need to have a lot of grit. You need to understand that nobody should be able to take away your grit. And then, of course, number two is, this lazy journalism I keep on talking about. I'm very disappointed with the kind of youngsters, who are coming and they say, because television has always, become very glamorous.
Yeah.
So, overnight they want to become television anchors so that everyone in their neighborhood, in their apartment knows them.
Recognize
but,
them. But,
it's not easy. And sometimes they come to me and say, who is the commissioner of Delhi police? They have no idea. Have you read the newspaper in the morning? Yes, sir. We read every day. Okay, what was the headline in Times of India today? Sir, today I couldn't read because I got, I was doing an assignment late in the night. That's not how journalism works,
Right.
I mean,
You think the reasons people are becoming journalists?
It's true for every other profession that you need to have a lot of hard work. But it's essentially more true for journalism because you have to come to journalism with a lot of passion.
The reason people are becoming journalists is becoming increasingly flawed.
I would say it's really mixed. There are some youngsters who are really interested in journalism as a career. They are influenced by other reporters they see.
How about you? Who are you influenced by? Which journalists do you appreciate or like?
Well, my role model really, as far as reporting concerned, is this Polish journalist who's no more. His name is Ryszard Kapuscinski.
Okay.
He was a brilliant conflict reporter who was.
He died in action?
Oh no! He died a natural death.
Okay.
Yeah. He was sentenced to death 5 times in Africa, in Latin America, etc. He's seen 27 coups in life. He was brilliant. So the other few journalists I really look up to is a war reporter called Jeanine Di Giovanni. She's a journalist based in France. Now, she has seen a lot of action. You should read some of her books. It's a book based on the Balkan War. It's called Madness.
It was going through my head when you said she's seen a lot of action.
No, action as in war. She's been to Afghanistan and Kosovo, everywhere else. Oh, she's really brilliant. Her memoir is actually out recently, where she talks about the things I talked about. Because here, journalists are also human beings. You see so much, you end up becoming this pressure cooker of emotions. So she leaves her job, she leaves her reporting for some time, and she falls in love with this French cameraman, and they get married, and they shift to Paris. And Paris is a completely normal city, but she has so many nightmares of her past experiences that she starts bottling up water in her apartment in Paris, thinking that the city will be under siege shortly. So that's what conflict journalism can do to you at times.
You worry that'll happen to you?
Well, in some ways it leaves an indelible impression on you. I remember, long time back I covered a war. When I came back, I was very young. I was 23. I came back, and for months I would get this nightmare that someone was picking me up and making me fall, push me from a cliff. But of course, I drank a lot of whiskey and I did some running, and I was fine after that.
In the dream or in real life?
No, in real life.
Okay.
In dream that doesn't work really.
Okay, now if I may try to do this dissection. You grew up in conflict Kashmir?
Yes.
And you left when you were 14?
Yes, sir.
And you're a very obsessive conflict journalist, as I have learned, some details. You think that they're related, the two are connected? But you seem very peaceful, man. You have this almost Buddha-like face with very sweet smile. And
No, not really.
I mean, you think they're connected?
But I think, that's,
I mean, you're obsessed about conflict journalism. I can see it in
Sure, I don't think there's a connection, except the fact that since I've seen conflict firsthand, I'm a victim of that. I was forced out of my house to a home, like hundreds of thousands of other families at the age of 14. And it was, it was like partition as far as we are concerned.
Right.
So, I've seen suffering personally. So I think that kind of leads, I have some empathy in my mind when I go to the tribal
Empathy is very important as a journalist.
Yes.
Journalists today, because all of them, in the English space at least, belong to a particular class, there's very little empathy when it comes to reporting. That is why you just see one kind of reporting in the English space.
But I don't think
that's true?
why should empathy be associated with class? I'm not, I'm from a middle class family. But when I go to the tribal areas, where people think that hunger is a disease, I was just narrating an incident which I saw in '98. I was meeting this middle-aged tribal Adivasi. And
no, but you went there as a journalist, right?
Yeah, as a journalist. And his son had died the previous week, and I got to speak to him. I said, "How did he die?" He said, "He died of disease." I said, "What disease?" He said, "Bhook ka bimari." So when I came back, of course, I'm a city.
Now, see, the thing is,
yeah.
you have to go there to have experience and then you
course.
come back changed. What
Of
I'm
course.
saying is that not everybody will have that experience.
Yeah.
And purely because of that, when we're sitting in our
But
studios.
you have to have some degree of empathy even when you are there. When I went there.
But just to make a choice of whether you go there or not, you have to have empathy.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
absolutely.
So do you think there is just the nature of what is chosen to be done as a story is determined by empathy? I mean, isn't that right? I mean, what is important as a human being to you or to me? Like the latest phone gadget. I mean, I don't understand technology, so it's not important to me. To someone, there's a thrill. It's emotionally connected. How you react to stuff is emotionally connected.
Right.
So don't you think empathy is an extremely important part of being a journalist? Because that will determine what story you choose.
Of course. I agree. Yes.
So because of that, do you think there is a need for the kind of stories you're talking about?
Yeah, we need to sensitize ourselves.
And that only happens if you have grown up in a certain environment, isn't that right? I mean, that's...
No, not really. I mean, it's an extreme example to say. Kobad Gandhi, the senior Maoist ideologue, he was not really a journalist, and he came from a very,
Do you sympathize with him?
With Kobad? Oh yes, I do.
So then you're a Maoist sympathizer.
Well,
Kidding.
That's all right. No. I like my good old friend.
I think he's an amazing guy.
Like my good old friend Nilesh Mishra says, I prefer a label on my forehead than blinkers on my eyes.